Hey, family, welcome to the Hub. Today, I'm really excited because I have Vena Sterling here, who's out of South Florida. She's an HR executive, a consultant, and a coach, and also a member of the Real Love Network. So excited to see you,
I am a wanted woman.
Yes. And for those of you who don't know what Vena's talking about, I believe that all women are wanted women, and it's just to figure out now, well, who do you want? So, Vena, let's take it back into time, girl. So, tell us a little bit about your love journey.
Ooh, hey, my love journey. Well, my love journey has been magnificent. I have had the pleasure of being married, which was wonderful. I have twin boys out of that union. And after my divorce, which was about 4.5 years ago, I did a lot of healing work and internal work to see where I could be responsible and, what I could do differently now. And it's just been a wonderful journey of healing and inspiration. And so it's been about 4.5 years. I've had a couple of long-term relationships that I knew I wanted to get married again, and they didn't lead to marriage. I knew that they wouldn't lead to marriage, so I ended those. And then I was spent a year without being in a relationship.
What?
And
You spent a year? Wait,
a whole year, girl.
like nothing, like
nobody.
Wow,
Just
nobody,
me and Jesus, girl.
For a whole year. What you doing? What were you doing during that year, Vena?
Well, during that year, I prayed a lot. I really got in touch with my feminine energy and focused on got clear on what I really wanted, and started just really noticing, whether it was friends telling me stories or what have you, just noticing the positive and what I wanted versus what I didn't want. So that's what I did for a year. And I also joined some lovely communities, including the Real Love Network.
So with the Real Love Network, like, how did you even come across Arlen? How did you come across the network? How did you find us?
I think I found you somewhere on Facebook.
Okay.
Just when maybe a day when I had no business surfing on Facebook.
And so what made you say, you know what, this is a community that I want to actually be a part of? Because you're a busy professional, a mom of twin boys in the double digits. You got things going on.
Hello, girl.
Business, HR exec, you got things. So what made you say that this was something that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, you know what? I think that nowadays it's really refreshing as women, and especially as women entrepreneurs, when we can bring our authentic self. So I saw what you were doing and I really admired what you were up to. I think I'd seen some clips from your retreat, your in-person retreat. So when I came across you, you were about to do a virtual retreat. I'm like, this is a no-brainer. I can be right here in my living room and really actually make time for the conversation of love, because being busy, I actually, that year just was getting a lot done in my business. So I don't want to say I wasn't focusing on love, because I was practicing, staying positive and finding my happy place, staying in my joy. But I actually liked the energy from the retreat, and then I think then I attended your virtual retreat, and you got me, girl. You got me.
Okay, so I think I know what you're talking about, the Success and Love Summit. So that's something that we do. It's a lot of fun, I think, right?
It was, girl. You went deep too. I'm like, woo.
Don't tell the juices.
I'm
They're
not
gonna
gonna tell
come.
the Jews, so I'm just saying it's not play. It's
It is not a game. It is not a game.
like,
We definitely have a good time. There might be some tears, there may be
yeah,
some laughs, but there's also some good things that you find out about yourself. Okay,
yes.
so tell me, like, what what do you love most after you join the Real Love Network? Like, what is it that keeps you here? Because so many people join things, leave things, like meh, whatever.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what keeps you here?
Well, definitely, I like, how real you are. And, okay, then you have your husband, Andy, coming on, dropping the knowledge from the male perspective, okay, just giving me my life. But hands down, okay, I love you and Andy, but my sister circle, okay, shout out to my sister circle. I love that you have us, really from the beginning put together with a bunch of women. There's four of us who are all in different stages of our journey. So we really see each other, hear each other. We can acknowledge each other. And I think at the time, I for sure didn't have time. I'd started online dating. I was thinking about it. And they definitely encouraged me to do it. I'm in a relationship now, so I didn't end up meeting my guy that way, but it definitely prepared me for the relationship that I'm in. And we've
Mhm.
just come to love each other, like really see each other, support each other. So that's what keeps me in the game.
I love it. So for those listening, really, the Real Love Network is a space where I had a business coach ask me, right, Vina, what's the best way to support your ideal client, the woman that you really want to work with? And you can see like the vibe of the ladies in the Real Love Network. It's just like we're on the
It's
same
hot.
page.
It's
Yeah.
hotness.
It's just like you got to vibe with us. My vibe is my tribe.
Uh,
And I said, there's something beautiful about being in a community where you have women, professional women, who are focused on the same thing. Yes, self love and attracting love, but then also thriving in a relationship and being supported through it all. Because I know you got friends, right? You're beautiful women.
Hello.
We all got friends, but there's something beautiful about being in a cohort, in a sister circle where you really uplift each other in this area of your life. So I'm excited that you feel that, you know?
Yeah, and we have
Yeah.
the same goal, the same intention. And like you said, I do have a lot of friends. Community is key because
Yeah.
that's actually how I ended up meeting, the guy that I'm in a
So tell
relationship with.
us, how did you meet your guy?
Oh. So I have a community and I actually created a game of sorts. It was really like utilizing community because you know how we say we're, X degrees of separation. So I figured why not utilize my community? So I got intentional with the type of person that I wanted to be with, definitely someone spiritual, but also as a mom of twin boys, what was important to me was that it could be someone who could be seen as a mentor to
Mm,
young boys. Like that's a cause that I'm, really passionate about. Not just because I'm a mom of twin boys, but that was something that was important to me. So I created a game that was around mentoring young boys. And I had my friends actually, connecting me with men who would be mentors to young boys. I'm creating an online community and it's called Kings in Development. So I said, like, who basically it's like, who do you see as a king who could support these kings in development? And bonus points if he's single, because my husband is in
eh,
this group. So that's what I would say to anyone. If you care about the environment or whatever you care about, really just create something, a cause that's not necessarily tied to being single, but that's going to have that community of people that you want to meet. Hello. And that's what happened. We had a mutual friend, and it's so funny because when she ran into him, she had known him for a long, long time, decades. She thought like he would be a really good fit for my community, but then she
hey, he
realized he
is,
was
girl.
single. Hello, hey girl, hey.
I love it.
Hey.
So, Vina, you meet this guy that is introduced through a friend. Walk us through a little bit of that journey because you guys met during COVID and so many
Hello.
people
Oh my
are
God.
scared. Can love happen? I'm gonna put love on hold until after COVID. When is COVID gonna end?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So tell me, like, what was that? Did you guys do parameters before meeting? Like, tell us a little bit about
Uh-huh.
that journey.
Yeah, we had some agreements. Well, what's really special is we got connected and we spoke on the phone on Christmas Eve. So that's really powerful, especially, both being Christians. I definitely, that was a big part of my, wanting a relationship that was a spiritual based relationship. And it's like I had it 2020 was in the bag. Like it was just a wrap, like, and
Yeah.
then a few days before the end of 2020, we met. So I would say, it just really takes one conversation to meet someone that, you feel is really special. And that was good. Listen, I'm the most quarantined person okay? I hadn't been doing anything. So if there was anybody who was for sure not going to meet somebody, it was me. I had not been out. I had been homeschooling the boys. So really what was important was communication. Like we met as parents, because it was my first Christmas without my boys. It was his first Christmas without his girls. So we really connected as parents, as friends, and then it blossomed from there. But we had communication and I just was sharing like that. I'm quarantined completely. I'm ordering groceries in.
Wiping them
I'm
down.
looking both ways when I open my door. It's just, and he was willing to meet me where I was. He was willing to, change some lifestyle, make some lifestyle changes, start ordering in. And so then after talking every day, we've been talking every day since we met, but after talking about it, he was willing to quarantine and order groceries in, and we were able to really just get on one accord. There's like this thinking about being equally yoked that has been really powerful. And I shared what was important to me in a relationship, and we were just both on the same page.
This is beautiful. So you met and things progressed. So when is it that you guys said, okay, we want to be exclusive or even more? Like what was
Uh,
that? Like how did that decision come into play?
that's funny because everything has been coming somewhat. I mean, it time wise, it feels early, but it doesn't feel soon, like early for us.
Yeah.
But I had shared that I had been online dating, and I don't know, it was maybe about a month in. It was just like, yeah, yeah. I mean, I had stopped. It was like actually right before I met him, I was like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. I had been breadcrumb, catfish, like everything. But the good thing is, I passed the test, and I was prepared when I met him because no matter what, I was focusing on what I liked. And when things didn't work out, I was just very gracious. So I stayed on the positive.
There
But
we
I
go.
had already made that decision. So I don't know. I think it's probably one conversation about like, confirming, like, we're not doing that anymore.
Mhm. So
And
I
that's
know
what happened.
I know it's been a couple months now. So
Three
tell me.
months. 3 months.
3 months. So
Months.
tell me what's going on now?
What's up? Well, right now we are growing together, definitely spiritually. We're doing premarital counseling, so we're actually really looking at, what are our goals, what are our aspirations, just ensuring not only that we're on the same page, which is good, but that we have a relationship that's founded in Christian principles, which is really important to me, is what I wanted. And I was afraid that maybe, it could get crazy out here. Like, was I even gonna find that, much less in COVID?
Right.
Right,
Oh,
but
so then
yeah.
that's a side part. So I want you to say it. So what are y'all waiting for right now?
Oh, the way. Oh, Lord. We are practicing celibacy,
Woo!
yes. And
Listen, there's a
yeah.
lot of women out there right now that are like, I don't know if there's going to be any grown men nowadays that'll be down for this. I don't know. Like, maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't. So can you speak a little bit to that, Vina? Like, How has that been going in terms of the communication of it? Like, did you share on the
Yeah.
first conversation, like, look, buddy,
Look,
like,
buddy, look. Look at here.
how did you share that? Like, how did that come up?
We were very open with each other from the beginning. I think that happens when you just real grown, okay? Like you
Mm,
get to it where you just real grown. You you
yeah.
know what you want, and you just have to really believe that the right person out there, that the right person for you is out there. So not being, afraid to say, this is what I want. I think we laugh about it now, but I mentioned it, and he was saying that that's what he wanted too. So I was like, oh, like that's interesting.
Hercules, Hercules. Now, y'all are on a shorter time frame than Andy because he waited 3 years to get some of this over here. So,
What,
yeah.
girl?
Yeah, the wait
Girl.
was real.
Oh no,
It
we're
was
not doing that.
hallelujah.
God
Hallelujah.
bless you. God
It was a
bless you.
lot of intentionality.
Yeah, we got to be
Yeah.
intentional, setting parameters,
Yep.
setting agreements. But it's good to know that it is a challenge, because if it
Yeah.
wasn't a challenge, then maybe there's no chemistry. So,
Right. But it's pretty cool that you're going into this clear minded. So I'm also happy that you guys are taking. That's the premarital class that I suggested for you guys.
yeah, you
Okay,
suggested, and you
awesome.
suggested, and that happened to be the church that he goes to. So it was all these signs like that. I'm like, wow, really
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
This
So
this
thank you for that. You've been
this
a
is
real instrumental. You have been instrumental for me, because in some of our, coaching conversations as me part of being in the Real Love Network, I remember I kept saying, it seems too good to be true. It seems too good to be true. You were like, girl, like, stop it. Stop saying that. Okay. And you know what? That really was something, a blind spot that I didn't see, because by saying that, then you're looking for, like, okay, what's the catch, right? Versus I've met someone really special, and this is what we're creating. Like, so I thank you for that, because that was, you really helped me make a shift.
bless you. So that just for all those listening, we have this propensity to focus on the negative. Like I think Brene Brown in either her book Dare to Lead or Vulnerability, she
Mm.
talks about this where you could be on the best trip of your life and imagine yourself falling off a cliff. Like
Right.
something
Hello.
something crazy, and it's just because we just can't enjoy the good. We have to paint this horrible picture somewhere
Yeah.
in the back of our brain because we're not believing that the best is for us. I put that's one of the love deck cards is I expect the best, and so many of us
Ooh.
really don't expect the best in our lives. So yes, I'm excited that you heeded that and just reframe that to say, okay, like this is good, like I can
Yeah.
enjoy this and that just be it and nothing more.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hercules, Hercules. So, also for those listening, I just want to also point out that, oftentimes we wonder if this is it. Is this the one? How is this really going to be? And I think Vena's really showing us that, wow, it can be easy. And when things are really hard before you even get married, I really want you to think about, is this the person you really want to marry? Because it doesn't get easier by osmosis, right?
No, no, not
So
at all.
I'm excited that as a grown woman, you are choosing the man for you and he is choosing you. You are both wanted, but then you're also taking the precautions and taking the steps to build a solid marriage. Because I find so many times, people say, oh, you sexy. Oh, you sexy. Let's get married. And they don't deal or have conversations about the things that really matter in your day-to-day life. So this is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah,
So
we get into the nitty gritty, and also just knowing that divorce is not an option.
mhm.
Like, that's huge, right? Like, I think we're in a society where it's like, we'll see how it goes.
Right.
We'll feel it out. Really knowing that, and just really trusting yourself, like being willing to not really wonder if this is the one, but does this work? Like,
Yeah.
because this is a lifetime commitment when you
Yeah.
when you want to be married. So Really looking at, is this going to work for me, and is this going to work for the other person? Because the best thing that we can give someone is to accept them completely, and not like, okay, this will work if you change this, this. The builder
Seriously.
man.
Listen, okay, so Vina, I had someone that wanted to work with me and I had to say no, right? And I say this because not everybody is for me and vice versa, but literally she's in a relation situation thing.
Situationship.
Yeah, she's in a situationship with someone where she's like, well, he has great potential, right? And it's like, if he blank, 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 blank. I said, but what if he just remains the person he is today? Oh, no, I couldn't. Then why?
Right.
Then why
Don't
are
do
we here?
it.
You are not married. You have no children with this person. Like, there's no reason for you to be here. So you just gave a word, Vina. And when Andy and I started dating, that was one of the things that I said to him after a fight we had. So we had this fight, right,
Ooh.
where he stormed out of my house, girl. He
Mm,
stormed
mm.
out like TV stormed out, right? And I was like, well, then, as he slammed the door, and I was just like, okay. And then maybe 5 minutes later, I hear a knock. I said, what? I
You
said, what's going
back?
on? What's going on? He said, you didn't run after me.
Hello, we're not doing that.
I said, what TV show you been watching? Which movie you think you
Hello.
starring in? Right? So we sat down and had a real conversation. I said, look, how about we make this deal? If you leave, you leave. But if you stay, you stay. And that be it. Right? So you can go to another
Mm,
room in the house, you could go down the hall. But
yeah.
but we do not just storm out and leave situations because that makes cracks in our foundation. And if we're doing
Yeah.
this, we're doing this. So then once we got married, it was, listen, we don't throw around the word divorce unless that's
Yeah.
the thing that's happening. And you got to be
Yeah.
real sure, right? Real sure.
Real
So
sure.
we don't throw that around because I grew up around couples that would say, I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you. And then 30 years later, they still together, right? So
You're
it's just
like, I
like,
thought you told
why?
me last week y'all were breaking.
Right, exactly. Like,
And
why?
I believed you.
Right. Like, I got you new suitcase. So why? Let's not do that because that just seeds doubt and abandonment and mistrust and all
Yeah.
those things into your relationship. And who wants that, right? We want to build a house on a strong, firm foundation and not on sand. So it just blows away at the next hurricane, right? Or the next
Mhm.
wind or the
Mhm.
next
Mhm.
monsoon or whatever else is going to come up. So,
But
Vina,
that's the feminine energy
yeah.
that you exhibited,
Mhm.
because in our masculine energy, it's like, how can I fix this? I'm going to run out the door and do all of that. And really, as professional women, it can be hard because in our workplace, we utilize masculine energy and we all
Right.
have both. But how do you actually stand in your feminine energy? And we've had like one little tiff. It was really nothing. But I had a choice. Like, I could do what I do. I'm probably more like Andy, where I don't storm out dramatic, but I give the ice. Like, I'm the queen of ice. Like, I know how to do ice. And I'm like, you know what? We're not doing that. We're actually, it's harder to share how you feel because that's like more vulnerable. It's easy to give you ice. Like, I know how to do that. Let you sit on ice for the night. But how do I actually be vulnerable and trust and say, this happened, not you did it, but this happened and this is how I felt, and trust that he will actually embrace us. And that's what actually shows us that this is a person you can trust with your heart.
Beautiful. I love all of it, right? So, looking at that foundation, Vina is making grown woman decisions to say, you know what, I'm going to share my heart versus make it ice cold so that you can't get in. And that just helps your relationship for the future. Because at the end of the day, what you build now is what will be there later. It's very hard for people to
Mm.
just forget, right? So, they might forgive, but it can be hard to forget. So, what we could do instead is say, you know what, I just won't do the foolishness. So, you ain't got
We're
nothing to
not
forget.
doing that. We're not doing no. Vena, the little girl Vena get to sit in the corner, get a timeout. We're not doing that.
Just don't breathe. And that
Exactly.
reminds me, I know that after we had a master class, Dial into Your Feminine Side. I know that was like a big spark for you into the feminine and masculine energy and
Hmm.
focusing on that. So, how has that also been going for you in terms of residing in your feminine?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I do love about your network as well, because I had spent a year just practicing my feminine energy, noticing what I want versus what I don't want.
Yeah.
And it's been very good. It's been, it's vulnerable, right? And we learned, like, I grew up in New York. I grew up in the Bronx. Vulnerability will get you killed. Like, you will not make it out of it. You cannot wear your heart on your sleeve, but we get to actually make, like you said, intentional adult choices and know, okay, what got me here may not necessarily be what I need to get me there. So it's just choosing something different and then having that trust because he meets me there, really. So
Yeah.
it's just been it's a moment by moment practice, because I've heard you say this, Coach Cass, it's easy to get mad. We just mad. I'm just mad right now. But it's another thing to say, are you hurt? Do you feel unwanted? Like, really just get, like my kids, they have this little board of the feelings and the faces.
Have you
So
ever
that is a big thing to even really say, how do I feel? Because I was just so used to being happy or upset.
right?
But what is the feeling? And then that feeling that you can share it with someone and own it. Like, okay, this reminds me of, because it's usually something it reminds you of. It's not even anything the person's
That
doing.
part. That part.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes, we're not
So
even
that's
mad
been
at the person in
powerful.
front of us.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
well, I remember when my ex did this, and this is what it meant. So let me tell you what you're not gonna do today. Mm.
Right, we're not doing that. And you know what? I would say for you now at this point in my journey, I feel like things are going really well, but I talked to my sister circle about this. It's like, okay, what do we want to know? I'm going to have Coach Cass to myself. So I was wondering, what advice would you give to women who are in relationships, and what are some of the ways that you see women sabotage the
Oh,
relationship? Like, I know we talked about a few,
yeah,
but
girl. There's so many, right? So
yeah.
what happens? What happens so often in relationships is we forgot that we chose the person that's standing in front of us, that's sleeping
Oh.
beside us, that's doing life with us, right? So at one point, it's this pursuit or the wish to be pursued, and then you get them, ha ha, and then you're there, right? And then they're no longer a priority because you got them and they're in your house every
Mm.
day and you see them all day. So then we take them for granted. So then
Oh.
now, instead of the excitement to see, to date, to plan, to kiss, to show love, the little things, we just say, oh, they're there.
It's
What's for
you
dinner?
again. It's you
Yeah,
again.
right, exactly. Good to see
Uh,
you. Can you move over? You're too loud. You're too this. You're too that. You left your
mm,
shoes there. And then it ends up being this nitpicky thing of to do lists versus the space of gratitude and grace. So
oh, that's good.
yeah, so when we refocus of, okay, this is the man that I chose. Why did I choose him? And you could literally make this a daily prayer. Like I thank God for my husband because he literally prays every day, thank you, God, for my wife. I'm like, you do not. Uh-uh.
Hmm.
And the thing is that I can tell that he really does say this. And it's just like, but I was acting crazy yesterday. Like, you sure you still want to thank God for me? Right. So making sure that you're doing a daily prayer for the man that you chose, right? And then
Oh.
and writing down some of the reasons of why you choose him on a daily basis, because you're going to end up in this roller coaster. Somebody's going to say something, somebody's going to do some foolishness. And usually when it hurts the most is when you're disconnected, right?
Yeah.
So when I am intimate, and intimate doesn't necessarily mean sex, but when I
Hmm.
spend time with, when I listen, when I sit face to face with my husband and we are in community with each other, when we commit an offense, it's funny, like, girl, please, or God, please. But
Stop.
when we are not spending time, when we are broken,
Mm.
when we're, just living life as two roommates, then if I do something like leave a dish, well, why do you always leave the dishes?
Yeah.
It's those kind of things that
Mm.
breaks up relationships or creates the mound for the explosion of the volcano, right? So
Oh.
really coming back to, I chose him. Why did I choose him? Give thanks for why I chose him and tell him thank you, right? Like,
Mm.
say the words thank you. Statistics
Hmm.
show that couples that say thank you at least 3 times a day for something specific are happier.
Wow.
Period. Right?
That's
Because we
huge. Yeah.
we just take people for granted. Like, they'll
I
be
mean,
there.
yeah. Yeah,
Just
I'm hearing
being.
being responsible for your choice, right?
Mhm.
Because and then being in gratitude because this person is choosing to spend their time, their life with you, and they could choose otherwise, right? So
Exactly.
I love that, and that's so grounded in feminine energy, just being receptive and focusing on the good, just never losing sight of like what you have.
That part. So, and
Yes.
it's easy to lose sight because we have so many other things going on. So it literally can be putting it in your phone.
A
As a,
reminder, now you're talking my language. And what I really love about what you said, and I am discovering that now, girl, is something about having a praying man, girl. Like, and actually having someone who's willing to lead in that area is
mm,
really important to me. And I'm hearing you say we get to get on board too and be praying for the men in our lives. So I'm taking
so
that.
true.
Listen, I got you. Thank you.
It's a you're welcome. It's a daily prayer because he gonna get on your nerves at some point, right? So it really is that reminder. So if the reminder has to go in the phone, because one thing I realize if it's not in my phone, I don't remember it because there's so
Mm-hmm.
many things to remember. So I
Mm-hmm.
literally have say thank you in my calendar, right?
That's
So
good.
simple things like that we do for other areas of our lives, but we just expect to remember over here. And then something to follow up to that is write notes. Like take notes. When you're talking to him and he shares something he loves or something he wants to do or just
Mm-hmm.
little things, take notes. You're not going to remember, right? So take notes. Show that you're caring, you're listening. That's the vulnerability part, right? That you want to
Mm-hmm.
do for him just like he wants to do for you and set that tone in your relationship. Remember, you're setting the tone of your relationship. So if you ever have a conference out of town, do you go a day without talking to him all day? Like these little things. I remember
Yeah.
my parents would travel all the time, dad in Jamaica a lot and whatever. But the one thing that I love to see between him and my stepmom is that they talk every day,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. Period.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care where in the world that you
Yeah.
are. So
Yeah.
is that a rule, like an unwritten rule that's in your household? Things like that. You just want to think about, like, what are things that I want to be a part of my forever relationship? And you emulate those things and everything falls into line. So versus having to dictate it, just be it and it will be.
That's so good because we talked about our KPIs. You're having a business, the key performance indicators. What are the things that tell us we're in a happy relationship? What are the
Yeah.
things that we want? And I love that you're saying that because that's what I've definitely gotten out of the Real Love Network is to be intentional about this area. It's not, if you don't put energy into it, it's not going to just happen. It's
Right.
like expecting the ideal job to knock on your door. We put so much into our education, our training, and when we don't do that in relationships and have like our sister circles having us be clear on it, then that's how situationships happen. It's no
And the
surprise.
foolishness. And the foolishness. I start to feel sad for people who aren't in our network. Like
Mm.
when you think of people just doing everyday life just by themselves, I'm just like, dang, that sucks.
It's
Like,
lonely too.
yes,
Or like people who are gonna listen to you as your highest self, right? Not just hear you complain about online, because I would have had a lot of complaining. Okay. And that's what happens. But no,
Mhm.
just really listening to someone who said you want this.
Right.
So holding you accountable, the
And that's
accountability.
I really feel that true change happens, yes, when you have the information, but it's also plus the right environment with
Yeah. Yeah.
accountability, right?
That's what
Big
Andy said
accountability.
on one of our calls. He's like, "It's your environment can
Exactly,
do things."
exactly. So yes, my
And
accountability
that
partner.
made a difference. Not only, yeah, that made a difference for other areas of my life. For
Mhm.
my eating. Is my environment pulling for my well-being?
Exactly.
Is
It
it pulling for
spills
love?
over. It
Yeah.
spills over. I feel like
Yeah.
when your love is right, which starts with self-love, right?
Mhm.
Everything else kind of falls in place. And having that accountability is good no matter what stage you're in your love journey because it's a roller coaster. You know what I mean? You get it,
Hello.
it definitely is
Mhm.
up and down, but there's something beautiful about being in the right place in the right community. So I just appreciate you, especially okay. So then that's something else, right? So now you're in a relationship. So what keeps you here? Because some people be like, okay, well, you got your man, what you need to be there for now,
Hello, bye.
So what keeps you
I
here?
definitely the bonds that I built in my sister circle. I still always learn something new. It's about
Mhm.
self-discovery, so I learned something new. I think, like the little tiff I was talking about, that happened like right after we had our monthly class. And I don't remember, I think it's maybe what Andy was saying about does the environment pull for it. And I knew that going on ice wasn't going to pull for like the love and connection. And we've talked every day since we met. So I just didn't want that to be in the space. And also there's like we contribute to each other. There's times when we come and maybe we're going through something and someone says something that inspires us, and then sometimes we can be that blessing. So I just think that this is not a, like with your relationship, like you're saying, it's not okay, it's done, that's
Right.
handled. How do you continue to grow? And it really is about self-love. That's a big part of what you do. I love the way that you actually, get us all centered. So it's really about us. Like, then I would say, from what I'm getting from your community and what I do believe, is that the nature of our relationships are dependent upon like our self-love, So we get to cultivate that. We get to focus on that, and then the relationship shows up.
Bam! You got the message, girl. This makes me so happy. So, Vina, how can people find you if they're looking for you? You're an HR exec, a consultant, a coach. So how can folks find you?
Well, they can find me on Instagram at the Vena Sterling.
I love it.
And yeah, I just look forward to connecting to anyone who is on their journey, who wants to connect professionally. And it's just been a pleasure being a part of this community. I thank you for the contribution you've been to me, Coach Cass. And I acknowledge you for, being an entrepreneur and a mom and a wife, and really leading by example in terms of not only what you do, what you say, but who you're being, like in
Thank
all of
you.
it is really powerful.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Vina. Words of affirmation fill my cup. So,
Yeah, that's my
take
love
notes.
language, girl, too. We did the test. We to do the love language test. I got you,
I
girl.
love it. I love it. I appreciate you and thank you. So, for all who are watching and listening, I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please do subscribe so you never miss an episode. They come out every single week. And please do give us 5 stars. Leave a review. Give us 5 stars. Show us some love. And in the meantime, in between time, have a good time. Keep loving, keep laughing, keep living. I'm Coach Cass. This is Vina. Bye, guys.
Mwah. Bye.